Hi, everybody. Welcome to In the Cauldron and Behind the Witch's Veil podcast. I'm here today with my sisters Chrissy and Amy and my brother Nico. We're stepping into the world where intuition, energy, and the unseen all intersect. My guest is somebody you've probably seen guiding investigations on TV, consulting behind the scenes in Hollywood, and teaching people all over the world how to connect with their own spiritual power. She's a psychic medium, a paranormal expert, and the good witch of Hollywood, Patti Negri. Thank you for joining us, Patti.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is great. Love you guys. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Amy is just like, I think you are one guest that she asked for.
Well, I think for someone who grew up with abilities, like people like you that we get to see and we feel less alone, you know? And I don't think a lot of people realize that or understand that unless you go through it yourself.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I do. And I love working with young people, like starting really young and stuff. It's great because you can feel lost out there sometimes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're known as the Good Witch. So what does that title mean to you personally and professionally?
well, it means I love the Wizard of Oz and I have that dang big pink dress. I do.
I love it.
That's not really what it means. I mean, that was my movie as a kid, probably why I'm a witch. I want to be Glenda. I am still working on arriving in a big bubble, you know, but haven't got that. But no, good means a lot of things. You know, I'm a white witch and I don't like good and evil and black and white. That's so oversimplified, but good means a lot of things. I am really good at what I do and my gifts and my practice, and it's fun being the good witch.
I love that.
I live in the Hollywood Hills under the H of the Hollywood sign. I am smack dab in the middle, both literally and figuratively, of Hollywood and the entertainment business. Been here my whole life, so it just kind of works, you know.
And don't you have spirits in your house too, or something like that?
I do. Besides my haunted doll behind me, my main one, Belle. My house has a beautiful house ghost. Her name is Adrienne. She came with the house. She's a French artist. She's adorable. When my husband and she died, not even in the house, but she died in 1998. And my husband and I renovated and moved into the house in 2021, and she was here. She was... Oh, wow. But in the dirt basement, which is now my office of which I'm sitting, we enlarged the house. It was this beautiful little tiny house with a third of the acre in the Hollywood Hills. So we expand the house a little, keep the yard. But in what was the dirt basement was her whole life. She was an artist. Her paintings, her macrame from the 60s, her tie-dye from the 60s, her disco from the 70s, her whatever you did in the 80s and 90s. So my house is a little bit of an ode to her. And,
so cool.
And she's really protective and she's French and she's hysterical. I had a French crew here once. And we were filming and the whole crew, the cast and crew, spoke French. I mean, they spoke their broken English with me, but she was as giddy as a schoolgirl. I think she got a crush on the star. He's a French famous comedian actor, Monsieur Poulpe. It was the cutest thing ever. It's like, I need to bring more French people over to please this woman.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
She's very
I have a ghost in my house too, and she's the previous owner's wife, and unfortunately she did die here. So we have a very kismic relationship going on too, in here as well. So I love that, and that you honored her too, because most people, you know, let's be honest, in our business we have people constantly that say, "Oh, I got a demon in my house," but in this case, it's not. You know.
Not a demon, it's cranky. It was cranky in life and they're cranky in death. It's a cranky ass house. Yeah,
exactly.
Adrienne, from the time we even moved in, I think it's a very close-knit little Hollywood Hills neighborhood. Everybody knows everybody. It's very creative, pretty much as everybody's in the arts of some form. But my husband and I, we got married in the backyard, like 200 little white chairs on the lower 40. And I had roses in my bouquet. Literally, roses were jumping out of my bouquet. And I'm walking, all the neighbors who we had gotten to know over the renovation of the house were like, that's Adrienne. She used to love roses. She grow roses. She used to sing La Vie en Rose at every neighborhood party, which we still have. La Vie en Rose. She would. So she is here. She got real mad at us once because we had a flood and we had to move out for a few months, and it was construction workers. She would start taking pictures out of frames and knocking it. But she's adorable and very, very protective.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chrissy, did you have a question? You're muted.
Sorry. I got a lot of questions actually, but yeah, I think one of the questions that I would like to ask our guests is, was there ever a moment that you doubted your path?
Yeah, of course. I mean, on a regular basis, but because I came into this kicking and screaming, you guys. This is not what I wanted to do. At all. I mean, I always had the gift from childhood. Like, I literally did my first seance when I was 7 or 8 years old. It's in my first book. I just knew they had a lot to say. It wasn't particularly dark or morbid or scary. Most spirits are good, which most people are good. So most spirits, but I kept it very private. Because I was from a young age in entertainment. I was an actor, I was a dancer. And then I went into producing when I was too old for Hollywood. That's funny, at 30. And I'm like, and I produce really big corporate shows. And I'm like, these people cannot know. I mean, for like Fortune 500, national, international, these people cannot know that, I talk to dead people. And number 2, I dance around bonfires in a cloak. Probably not good for the HR department. I'll just keep that private. But in 2008, and that was a very international, and the corporate crash became, and all of a sudden corporate entertainment and shows became a dirty word, kind of like the beginning of the Epstein stuff, that it was like corporate entertainment meant hookers on jets. It's like, no, we are teaching ethics to oilmen via a Saturday night sketch, song and dance extravaganza. What? But all of a sudden, like, it was crashing and burning. And at the same time, being in the middle of Hollywood and coming with all this background, reality television was going boop, 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 boop. And I remember somebody called me up and they go, Pat, they'd been to my seances. They knew my private life, my belief system. Patti, I need you to do a seance on my reality show. I'm like, oh, thank you. No, thank you. I can't. That's my private life. I appreciate it. No, thanks. Please, we don't have anybody else. We don't know what to do. We know that you can. Yes, thank you. No, I can't. I'm thinking my corporate people. And then I'm also sitting here looking at my empty calendar going, oh, God, I'm turning down work. What am I? And I'm like, well, okay, what's the name of the show? And literally with a straight face, she goes, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. And I'm like, ew. Who would watch that?
Yeah.
Nobody would watch that. Not my corporate clients, not my friends. Maybe I could do this once. Maybe I could do. Oh my God, it was the most fulfilling thing I'd ever done. I got to help a human little girl who everybody thought was crazy because she was drawing portals on the ceiling of her motorhome. I'm like, no, there are portals on the ceiling of her motorhome. I got to help a spirit that had a big message for the family, help them. And almost best of all, I got to slightly open the mind of the Southern Bible Belt cast and crew that this isn't evil, this isn't negative, this is part of life. And I'm like, best day ever, but never again. That's it. Uh-huh.
Yep.
When it aired like 2 months later, I watched it. I go, this is good. I know what I'm doing. I'm legit. I know how to cut camera, but never again. My very first call that next morning, I almost was from my biggest corporate client. Hi, Patti. Hi, national client, bank, I think. Yeah. Hi. I saw you on television last night. I'm like, oh no, you did? Yeah. I didn't know you were into the paranormal. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I love the paranormal. I'm like, what? And she proceeded to tell me her first ghost story. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm out of the closet. I'm out of the broom closet. I'm out of the psychic medium closet. if this is my biggest corporate client and she wants to talk ghosts, what have I been doing all these years? So literally that was it. And the universe threw me again from kicking and screaming to, it made my next really big production show crash and burn around me, not by anything I did, because it was on the Queen Mary where I should have been hunting ghosts and not.
Yes.
It was hysterical. And I'm like, okay, got it. And then I just didn't look back. Again, being in the middle of Hollywood, being both sides of the camera, being legitimate. So all of a sudden I became the person to call if they needed a psychic or they needed a medium or they needed a witch or they needed consult, because it's good when they have consult. And then Ghost Adventures, which I think I'm most known for, came in about 2015. I was supposed to be a one-off like that. Every episode has that one person that's experienced or the local psychic medium, but we just hit it off, and it basically 2 episodes a year for the last 11 years, and it's always an adventure. So, but then any other show that calls. So again, this was not in my plan whatsoever. What? But it's the best. I love every second of it. I wouldn't change the world,
I was going to say, sometimes the universe has, plans for us that we don't necessarily listen to. And of course, if we don't listen, then they're just going to push you right into it.
It's on the head.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got one more question, then I'm going to take it over to Chill here, to Michael. So how did you get started in Hollywood and being the good witch of Hollywood?
Well, the Good Witch did not come until after 2008. I mean, I was privately, yeah. I mean, everybody knew I loved Wizard of Oz. I had a production company. I have the costumes. I literally do have that.
I love it.
But I started in Hollywood again. I was a model when I was a kid. When I was 14, 15, I worked for Teen Magazine. I was a contest like Miss Teen USA, kind of stuff like that. I was the all-American girl for Kodak. Kodak used to be film. There's this thing called film. And they had this thing called film stores. I would literally be this life-size cutout of the girl in the ridiculous, the cut-off jeans, the Daisy Duke jeans, and the tied-up red shirt, running on the beach. Yeah, it was me when I was literally 15, and that kind of worked into educational films, which worked into theater, which worked into whatever. Yeah,
lovely.
I love the
answer.
Yeah, that is. Michael, you have some questions for Patti?
Of course. First and foremost, I'm Michael. It's a pleasure to meet you, Patti. I've been wanting to meet you for quite a long time. I represent the military pagan community. I'm one of their 9 pagan DRGLs in the entire military on the Army side. But I do have a question. What inspired you to write Old World Magic for the modern world? And what is the inspiration behind it?
Okay. I think mostly, again, my whole gig, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm touring, whether I'm writing with my private one-on-one clients, which has always been my livelihood, what I really notice is that people give away their power. You guys know too, people give away their power all the time, I guess for the lack of responsibility, but they give it away to other people. They certainly give it away to limiting belief systems. They give it away to fear more than anything. And I'm like, take your damn power back. You don't have to be a witch. You don't have to be this, but this is your life. Create it. And I saw myself just saying the same thing over and over to people. And the one thing I really noticed is that we're out of balance. People, I mean, there's no balance in this world. Early man that lived in nature and had all this, they did, but modern society. And me being a very elemental witch, I would come up with these like 30-second exercises that literally would, get people off, depression meds and this meds. It's like, literally a stronger version of hug a tree when you need grounding, run your hands underwater when it's the water element, your emotion, your earth element is this, get grounded, your fire element, do some sound, do some heck work, zzz, we'll balance it out. And I'm like, so I'm like, if I write this down, I won't have to say it every day. So I like here in the book itself is literally like, it's just I spent more time unwriting it than writing it to make it super simple, like you could read it in 1 or 2 nights, or I wanted that you could pick it up and just go, okay, kitchen magic. Oh, how to talk to dead people, easy. How to do bathroom magic. Why a little salt in your toilet can just super like life hacks to just bring magic into charm your toothpaste every day.
Everything.
System. So that's what it really was. It's just like, I need to write this down. This seems so simple to me in working with spirit, but it's so powerful and so simple. So that's what that one. And my newest book, Dollcraft, was completely different. My 2 worlds now, they're not the corporate world, they're my paranormal world from all the investigations and the touring and all that. And then the witchy world, of course, my empowerment world, my speaking. The one thing that brings them together is dolls. I'm a doll collector since birth. I mean, I think when I came out of my mother's womb, I had a large doll collection. If I turn my camera around, I have hundreds of Barbies looking at me. I do. Well, and none of them are haunted. Barbie just doesn't seem to need, she's the goddess. But what brought this, I know I saw a need because everybody wants a haunted doll now, that there really is care and feeding. You have a real spirit there. That could be dangerous. You need to do it right. And then what would bring it together? And then the other half, magical puppets on how to spell crafting and magic. So the thing that brings my 2 worlds together is dolls. So I put them all in one book. And Llewellyn said, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And before we get to the second question, Michael, I want to bring up her books so everybody will have a chance to look at them. So beautiful. Beautiful layout.
Yeah, I love it. I have nothing to do with the cover. I love it. I absolutely
the cover's awesome.
But there's so many puppet messes, right? And this is my first book, which is still my baby. It's the one that if anybody read the book, read this one.
I just purchased that one myself.
Oh yeah. Well, let me know what you think. I hope you like it.
I love it because a lot of people don't know. Like my number one question, because I do discussions and I do lives and all that stuff, is how do you bring witchcraft into your lifestyle? And I feel like that's a great book for people to reflect on and learn.
Yeah, that's what it is, just that little bit of magic, whatever it is. So thank you guys. It's good. But that's
and I do have a question from the audience here before we pass this up. But from Scott Cat, this is a very good friend from New Hampshire, my first high priestess, actually. I have a question. I know you have a lot of dolls, and some of them are haunted, as you say. Did you put spirits into them? And if so, what kind passed on friends or family, or are they servitors?
Beautiful question. And yes and no to all of it. I in the book, actually, Dollcraft, I teach people, number one, I don't want people getting scammed on eBay. Not saying there's no real haunted dolls, but if one seller has 1,000 dolls lifted with these long, elaborate stories, maybe they're a good writer and they went to Goodwill and picked it up, or the antique store where you can find your own haunted doll. But I also do, because we know how to call in spirit. We create spirits all the time to call in. To me, the difference of, say, an inspirited doll versus a haunted doll. A haunted doll is, to me, and again, I still say have a positive haunted doll. They're just as spooky. They move things around. They wink at you. You hear the footprints, but they're not going to drain your energy and make you sick like a negative haunted doll. So Belle was so negative, I did not let the sun set. And I knew there was a positive spirit with something covering it. But again, that to me is a haunted doll. So you want a positive spirit because it's a spirit living in your home. The inspirited doll is, and there's even hybrids to me between a puppet, something for healing, and a spirit that you call in or create. So there really is these versions. But I do teach people how to call in a regular disembodied spirit into a haunted doll. You have your favorite doll from when you were a kid, or maybe you went to Target and you bought whatever that is. And you want to invite in a spirit. It takes a lot of patience often, or like that immediately. That depends on the spirit. I don't ever force a spirit to stay in, to come in, to do anything, because I don't want to be forced, so I'm not going to force anybody else.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. So yes to both.
Cool. We have one more question, then I'm going to take it back over to Michael. Another friend, Dante, says, how do we feel about the modern landscape of ghost hunting and the paranormal community as a whole?
Great question too. I think it's actually getting better because it used to, the early days of it, since I've been in it so long, was the tech dudes, the techs, and I like this and all this and this. But now more and more are discovering they have a witch or a medium or a psychic on their team along with their equipment, and it's and more I go to all those conventions, and where they used to be very tech heavy and the good dudes and whatever, now they've got crystals, they've got amulets, they work with sigils. Like, this is real. What I really think about is, I think almost, and again, network TV doesn't know what to do with paranormal right now. That's not doing real well, but it doesn't need to. We have streaming. We have things like my network, Paraflix. We have Netflix. We have YouTube, the best in the world that I work with, like Sam and Colby, Ultimate Stay. Bigger budgets than Travel Channel and Discovery, believe me. You know, Discovery will stuff me on a Southwest flight, which is fine. It's like the other guys fly me private. It's like, okay. But I think, times are scary. Times of whatever's going on in the world. Times have always been scary, but they're extra scary now because we're 24/7 bombarded. It's on our cell phone, it's on our screen, it's on our social media, it's on the restaurant bar camera. So people traditionally, when times are scary, people go back to their religion. All day they went back to church or temple or mosque or whatever. That's not holding up for everybody. It's like, well, I was a Baptist, but they don't believe in gay and I'm gay, so therefore the growth in more alternative religion, and certainly the growth in witchcraft. Again, what are we? The largest growing religion in America. Yay. So, but there's still a group of people that like, I'm scared if we get blown up tomorrow by Russia or China or aliens, I want to know I'm going to be okay tomorrow. And I don't want this woo-woo stuff. I don't want spirituality or religion. Let's go on a ghost hunt. They want to go on a paranormal investigation, and then they go on a paranormal investigation and they say, they experience something. Oh, that is real. So I may be okay if we get blown up tomorrow because I'm talking to dead people right now. Yep. And often will backdoor them back into a belief system that helps serve them. Whatever, whether an old-fashioned one, a new one, or they just or create their own. Because to me, your belief system is just your navigation tool. It's how you navigate through your life, and what one works for you. So that's what I think. It's almost a new religion for people who don't want religion and know we'll be okay if we get blown up by those darn aliens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure, the aliens can. I always tell them they can take me.
Take me, yeah. So Michael, back to you.
Yes. So I've seen that you practice a form of ceremonial practices when invoking the spirits and stuff like that. I was very curious into that, as I'm pretty well versed in the way of Wicca's ceremonial practices, yet it seems to vary a bit differently. Would you like to tell us kind of about how your practices go when you're working in your spiritual zone?
Yeah, all over the place. Again, I just like a buffet menu. I was raised without and I had a very Wicca-based background from the 80s when I discovered, oh, these are my people. They talk to trees and understand the feminine. But I will go anywhere, everywhere spirit leads me. When I was a kid, again, my mom encouraged it. Yeah, grandma did that too, so it wasn't evil. My mom would have been your typical Southern Christian. My dad would have been a Sephardic Jew, but my grandfather was this very famous psychoanalyst, philosopher, atheist, practically evangelical atheist, who wrote books on religion and spirit, so well educated, but thinking anything religious or spiritual was just a weakness. But I have this gift. I would drive by a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a park and see this energy and go, I want to go in there. What is this thing I see? But I was so afraid because like God or gods was almost a dirty word to me. And I was like maybe 13. And this was, again, that big first born again Christians and rock and roll Christians. And there was some Christian rock band at some local church. And I had a crush on the lead singer, and I was like, I was so afraid to ask my mom if I could go to a church. I mean, I would have felt better going, can I go to a rave? Can I go? But no. And I just, can I go to like church on Friday night? And my mom's go, you could do anything you want. It's like, I could do anything I want. And I became a seeker. So I tried all these different versions of Christianity and evangelical, and I'm, there's something off here and not empowered. And Judaism and Buddhism and this. And then again, in the 80s at a young age, I was like, oh, witches, this is me. I've been talking to trees since I could talk. But my practice, again, encompasses anything I can find. I have studied my whole life, and I will steal from chaos magic, ceremonial magic, thelemic magic, make it up myself magic. I'm very elemental in my work, I must say. Really, my main practice, I work more with, I'm just so elemental over deities. I work with deities, but I do not have a one patron or matron. This is Kate, if there's anybody there, it would be her, but I really am more very earthy.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I do have one final question before it goes over to Amy and Chrissy. So my final question is, in the military community, we're very oppressed as a group in its entirety in the freedom and being able to practice our religious beliefs or our spirituality in this sense. If you have any advice or you want to say anything to the military personnel and young pagans out there, now's your time.
Yeah, I think, again, stand your truth. But here's a nice little Hollywood advice. Speak to your audience. If you're talking to your best buddy, born again Christian buddy, be who you are. Let them see your belief system, your practice, but don't use the spooky words that they will not understand so much. It's like, say you're talking sex education. Easy thought. Say you're talking sex education to junior high kids, you're going to speak one way. If you're talking sex education to medical students, it's another way. To seniors moving into the home, it's a different way. Same truth, same whatever, but are you going for shock value, or they want you to hear them? So wear your pentacle, wear your pentagram, do whatever you do, but let them see, walk your walk, and speak to who that audience is. That's why I do keep studying religion, because it's almost like a template you put over your belief system, and find where you can match with them, what you have, the belief systems that are the same. Find a joining place and then start there.
I love that theory.
And listening.
I do too. I love that.
I agree, because I grew up as a witch, so I had to navigate all of it, and you know, especially when you're in the Bible Belt, it's not always easy, and you have to kind of stay true to you.
Yeah,
being different is okay. So my question is, what's one case that changed your understanding of the spirit world?
Oh, what a great question. One case that changed my understanding. I think, okay, to understand how I work, this is, again, one of my good stories that I've told before, but how it worked and how my faith and my belief system worked. So I was doing a seance, which is my gig since I was 7. It's a home in my neighborhood. Some people have maybe heard that. In which I live in the oldest, it was built in the 1920s, the first movie enclave built so it'll be a movie star house versus a little writer's cottage. So this house right down the street from me was built in the 1920s by Charlie Chaplin for one of his many girlfriend lovers. We had many houses and many girlfriends, and it was a super party house, which great, but it can pull in things. Super party house in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they knew how to party. In the 60s, the Rolling Stones manager bought it. So Stones stayed there, Mamas and Papas, Graham Parsons, super party house in the 60s. Then when they moved out, the guy who invented the real life sex doll moved in. Party house started getting a little too spooky for him. And then he moved out. And then my neighbor, Marilyn Manson, moved in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So and again, it even eventually got to, but we were at that super haunted house. It literally looked like it was built by Masons or something. Sacred geometry everywhere. A literal compass drawn in the entryway floor, north, south, west, east. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. But I was doing a seance. They had hired me to do a seance about this documentary about, they call it the Mary Astor House. And so, but one of the kids, and they were all young people at the seance table with me. And you guys know, when you're young, past puberty, but not too far into your 20s, you have so much life force. That's why all the poltergeist stuff happens in those ages and things. There's so much life.
It.
Seance table filled with that. And my one rule is usually be skeptic, that's fine. Be funny, that's fine. But you have to be respectful. Nobody wants to be disrespected. But this one kid was getting very disrespectful and just saying really rude, stupid things. And I wasn't keeping him in line like it was a private, because it was filming and they knew what they were doing and they knew where they were. But this one spirit was getting really angry. And all of a sudden, it's just like the tension of everything's coming in on the table. And all of a sudden, the French doors flew open. Everybody's screaming, and take 4 cameras shoot. 2 cameras caught it, which, I mean, no, all the cameras caught that. And I'm like, the producer side of me is going, wow, this is great. But legit, I'd never fake anything. And then that happened again, but this tension is building. And then he said something else stupid, and the speakers on the floor. In the olden days, it was how big can your speakers be versus how little can your speakers be. One of those big old whatever sitting came on. It sounded like a ghost radar. I sounded like a spirit box, white noise. We looked later, it wasn't even plugged in. All this, but again, this was happening, is building and building, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting really heavy. But again, 4 cameras going, everybody knows what they're good for. He said, we're working with a Ouija board, which I've used safely since 7. But all of a sudden, he said something really stupid, and not him, but the cameraman facing him literally burst into flames. Like a V up his back, like angel wings of fire up his back. He was not standing in front of a candle or a fireplace. 2 cameras actually caught spontaneous combustion. 1 camera started filming the ceiling or the floor. And this poor guy is like wondering why everybody's screaming and pointing at him as his shirt blows up. I am freaking out. I'm like, drop and roll. Cool witch medium Patti becomes medic Patti, of which I am. I'm EMT, I'm cardiology, I'm certified. I'm all that, because you kind of have to be. And I'm like, drop and roll. I've never stopped filming. This is not okay. He could die. We could all die. We're in a small, a lot of people in an old house, not okay. Shutting it down, calling in my wards to shut it down. But the guy who caught on fire, who was a super skeptic, was like, this is great. He's a big Spinal Tap. He was a filmmaker. Spontaneous combustion. I'm okay. I could turn off. This shirt burned off him like it was nothing. And it shouldn't have. It was cotton. It should not have burnt off like a nylon or polyester, but it did.
Wow.
This blistering on his back. I'm like, oh my God, you have to go to the doctor. He goes, no, let's finish the seance. We have to. This is amazing. And I knew the kid was not going to be any more problems, because he's the choir boy in the corner now. And so I talked to the spirit. I'm like, you just can't do that. Please. We're not even going to get rid of you. We know this is your house. You're just cranky. You're a big old theatrical, big in life, big in death. You know, Bob the Quiet Banker in his cubicle is Bob the Quiet Ghost. Some old 30s movie star is like, ba-ba. Wasn't demonic, but we did finish it. All sorts of crazy stuff happened, more crazy stuff than I've ever experienced anywhere. But 3 weeks later, again, to just show the proof of your faith, 3 weeks later, the cameraman, Patti, goes, look at my back. And he showed me where the blistering was. Totally looked like he had went and got a tattoo of a dragon on the small of his back. Open mouth, sharp teeth, winged head into the shape of a serpent.
Oh, wow.
The exact energy I called in to shut down the seance. I work dragon at Scaria. I work dragon energy. Those are my crossroads beasts. And I'm looking, that is how I close this out. I'm looking at his back and I'm like, oh my God, you have a tramp stamp of a dragon on your back. That is the coolest thing I have ever seen. And he thought so too. He literally,
that is really cool.
no longer. He actually, so much so, he wrote a script about a TV medium who does every TV show. He wrote it with Stephen Norrington, the guy who wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series. And it's spooky funny if they get around to doing it. I think Margot Robbie should know. But literally, but I did sit down with him. I go, if you do this, Lauren, and this is why they need to use consultants, like hire you guys, hire us. Because I go, oh, Lauren, you can't say that in a script, but you said it. I go, I know I said that, but that causes a shift. That opens a portal. You don't want to be one of those cursed horror films, do you? It happens all the time. Spirits, energy, good or bad, doesn't know the difference of an actor saying lines in this to whatever as the real thing. So let's change those words. They'll sound as mystical or spooky or whatever, but not open up a portal to hell. So again,
let's not do that.
Hollywood's getting smarter. But not everybody realizes that with all the YouTubers and everything. It's like, be careful. Be careful. Energy is energy. So, but anyway, that made me go, oh, you know what I'm doing? Wait, my dragons are legit. They work. He's got it too. It's awesome.
Here's the one that Patti gave me.
Yes, there. This is a beautiful one.
Yeah, this is the one that Patti gave me. Henry, my little dragon.
Henry.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yep, so, she taught me how to do dragon magic, so I do my dragon magic.
Awesome.
They're as powerful as you let them be.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very, very correct.
Yeah. Patti, how do you protect yourself energetically before or after investigations?
Very carefully. I use herbs, I use oils, I use sigils, I use chants. Intent is the most important, again, when you come in. My favorite sigil, though, is the good old Helm of Awe, that 8-sided cross. Like, I have little stickers I make. These are shiny, so you can't see so well. But this, I have a little amulet. Now you can get these a dime a dozen. In the olden days, they were hard to get, but you could, draw one on a Post-it. To me, this breaks up negative energy so strongly. My biggest place to always protect, though, is right at the back of your neck. That is the biggest on our body. And people don't really realize, that is why if you pray, you bow your head, open that up for spirit. But, unless you purposely want to channel, open this to see them and communicate, shut this. So, and I always ground afterward a very clear intent of who and what gets to come in. So, and anytime I've had, failures along the way or incidents, it's because I dropped the ball somewhere. I didn't fully set things up, or oops. Yeah.
Awesome. And totally agree. The back of the neck is so underrated. People do not talk about it enough. And then my next question is, how do you define witchcraft in a modern context?
Oh, what a great question too. How do I define witchcraft? I think it's a belief system that puts you in the driver's seat to create the life that you want. It's taking fate into your own hands. And it's putting up the sails on your boat so you help direct where the wind takes you.
Awesome.
I think that's the best.
Totally agree.
We do have some more questions here from the comments. Let's see here. Okay, so we do have one again from Scott Cat. If I can get it there. Okay, sorry.
That was fast.
Okay. Jason Hawes worked with Jason Hawes, and he still doesn't work with psychics. So it just, despite the fact that I was there with him. So she did work with Anne Grant. Hopefully someday will we get Jason too. She also said that dolls are not my forte in my 48 years of practice. So I was curious. I do work with puppets, however.
Good. And puppets are dolls. They just, they're a magical, mystical, powerful form of dolls. And it's so funny because Jason's wife, I know him, I like him. She's super intuitive. Sherry, she's super intuitive. And he's got a psychic on the team,
Mm-hmm.
So, we have our persona that we want to stick to, and we do or we don't,
Oh, yeah, I understand that. And also, she says, working with the sigils is my favorite. That and mirrors. Yeah, me too.
Mirrors.
Take care.
Me three. That's so much power there in both of them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then you put sigils on your mirrors, and you're combining it all.
Medium red. Let's go back to you for some questions.
Well, I have one that is interesting because you use it, so I'm kind of curious if this is what the answer would be. But what's a ritual you think people misunderstand the most in witchcraft?
Oh, misunderstand the most. Wow, radio silence. I think a ritual, not a spell. A ritual. I think literally the simplicity of working with the moon and moon rituals. Either they make it too complicated or just misunderstand the energy of the power of the moon and the energy and the pool and the 70% water body that we have within it. It's like, it could be as complicated as you want or as simple as you allow.
Mm-hmm.
So I off the top of my head, it's probably when we get off air, I'll go, oh, this and this and this. But I think, again, misunderstood. It's like, just follow the moon cycle. That easy.
Right. I think also, like in the paranormal aspect, I would say like a Ouija board, everybody, but see, I asked it about witchcraft. So in the paranormal part, I would say definitely the Ouija board is like entirely misunderstood. Because again, if you open, and you've taught us this, you've taught in your classes, you open it and you close it. You control that aspect. And if you do it the proper way, then you have no issues and no problems. But once you say Ouija board, everyone's like, ah!
I also think like a lot of people like use Ouija boards. Like, I think any divination item can have the same power, including you. If you open it up, you need to shut it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And people and again, Hollywood is responsible for making Ouija boards so evil. It's like, of course, you're not going to have, and grandma came through the, but you don't, it's just exactly what you said. You open it, you close it. You're very specific at who you let in, inviting good or light spirits or grandma, or whatever that is, or spirits of this place. Positive. You don't open your front door of your home and say, anybody come in, serial killers, mass murderers.
Yeah.
Why would you conjure them through a Ouija board?
Exactly.
Them safely since I was 7 or 8 years old. And and then so many people are afraid of them. Again, partially due to Hollywood. But that same person will use a pendulum or dowsing rods that are no different than a Ouija board as far as the divination doorway.
Yeah,
exactly. That's one of my favorite tropes is they're like, I'm scared of Ouija boards. I saw you use a pendulum last week. It's literally the same thing.
Literally. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Have you ever had an unusual request, being that you're in Hollywood and in the production world and stuff like that? Have you ever had an unusual request that you've received, like from a studio or a celebrity in this case?
Anything that seems really unusual. I've signed this thing called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. My life is a non-disclosure agreement. But I must say, there's these little funny plastic dragons sitting next to a lot of Oscars and awards and sports stars and things, as far as them claiming their power along the way. Weird request. I think the funniest thing I did not is clearing, because I do a lot of house clear, as we all do, clearings and stuff. And I think the two weirdest ones of Hollywood that I could talk about, you guys might even be too young, but there was a famous producer in the 80s, Aaron Spelling. He produced Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Beverly Hills 902. He was the prolific. He had the biggest, most expensive house in the world in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, like 50 bedrooms and this and that. Tori and Candy and the whole family. Anyway, after he had passed, the people who then lived his house, he was haunting their house. I mean, I was called in to clear. And again, billionaires, all this, and I'm sitting around, and literally it was Aaron Spelling haunting. He was haunting the man in the family that he couldn't sleep. He was leaving the wife and the child alone. I go, I guess Aaron's just done with girls after Tori and Ken. But we are sitting there with my knife and swords, and the guy had like a 15-person security downstairs, and I'm up in his master bedroom with swords and knives and wands and drums. I go, this is about the weirdest thing ever. So that trip of again, and we got rid of Aaron Spelling, again, the most prolific producer of the 80s. And then after that, I think the weirdest having to do, Phil Spector, he was the guy that shot my friend, Lana Clark. Big, huge music producer, I guess, in the 60s, invented like the wall of sound. I was hired. He had this crazy castle out in LA, outskirts of LA, that a little lower income, medium, little mid-century houses with this castle on top. They were haunting it so badly, I had to clear Phil Spector's castle, which was so weird because that you felt the magic in the house and the darkness in the house. Excuse me.
God bless you.
Thank you. One room would be like beautiful carved wood and magic, and the next room would still have, excuse me, 60s shag rug and a love pit. And this black oozy dark energy easing up from everywhere. So that was one of my weirder "this is Hollywood" moments.
Wow.
Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I can breathe.
So what's the sorry.
What was that, Amy? You cut out.
I said, what's the time when spirit communication surprised even you?
I didn't hear that still.
It was garbled. You got garbled for some reason.
Top of the storm.
Yeah,
What?
something's happening on your side.
Okay, you hear us now?
Yeah, it's a little still garbled.
It's probably okay. We got it in.
It's probably her Wi-Fi connection. Yeah.
Okay, now can you hear us?
Try it. Go for it.
What is the? What do you,
Are you typing?
Amy, pull up your Wi-Fi hotspot.
Nico, did you want to go ahead, Nico, while they're typing?
Sure. Let's see. How do you differentiate between intuition, psychic abilities, and mediumship in your own work?
As a rule, unless I'm teaching, I choose not to. I just
Sure.
here's a message. I should call home. I should turn left. I should do this. Again, it's just being in touch with spirit, in touch with my higher self, in touch with whatever. If I need to break it down to teach people how to develop their intuition or their mediumship, that's when you break down, whether you're breaking down the clairs or whether you're breaking down that gut feeling that got so taught out of us in our, not us, because I'm talking to a magical crew, but the rest of the world, everything's phoned in, automatic pilot, bio rote, asleep at the wheel. In our left brain, complete logical focused world, they've lost that right brain creativity, whether that's your mediumship or your intuition or your spirit talking. So as a rule, I just say, this is the knowledge I have. I'm stepping into it. As a spirit guide giving to me, my higher self giving to me, grandma giving, I don't know. But I do just tend to break down aspects of it if I'm teaching.
Totally makes sense, yeah.
So I guess what Amy was trying to say was, what's a time when spirit communication surprised even you?
Every day. Surprise even me. I think when when it's something that, and a little and heartfelt, like I was, again, on a Ouija board. Everybody thinks it's so scary. This young guy had passed away, had disease, leaving a young wife and a young little toddler child. And there she sat with his iPhone and didn't know the code. And 1,000 pictures on it. She knew there were 1,000 pictures of this. Literally, the spirit gave me the iPhone code. And that was like practical. That's beautiful. And this was funny because this was at the same time several years ago when it made national news that somehow the government was trying to get Apple to give a code for like some crime or something, but Apple wouldn't do it, break the code. And I'm like, well, I should have just talked to a medium or used a Ouija board. They had to get, it's like, there, okay, here's the code, boom, 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 opened it up, 1,000 pictures. So little things, the little moments that, then we danced with Daddy. We looked at pictures, and
that is so cool. Yeah, that's true. Why did they consult with a psychic medium? That's true. Oh my gosh. We've got some comments here. So hold on a second. Let me get out of that screen. Darthos. So hang on a second. Next, then Scott Cat, we're having a storm. So, okay, go ahead. Chrissy, can you talk or no? You can't talk? Nico, can you see the...
Hear me?
Yeah, go for it. Oh, you can't hear.
Maybe not.
Yeah, Nico, do you want to, I guess Darthos and then Scott Cat had a comment. They're right in the midst of their storm. So can you read the comments?
Yeah, Darth was asking your difference of opinion between cleansing or purifications.
I rarely again think about what the difference is. Again, something, and I think I use the word cleansing more. Purification doesn't always have a completely positive connotation to me. I don't know. Purification, what is purity? I don't understand. So I use the word cleansing more. If there is a really good explanation difference, I don't know it.
I would agree with you. I would go for cleansing over purification as well.
Yes, purify sounds like you're...
It's like we're ghost busting the spirit away. Yeah.
Cleansing, I understand. We got to dust this up. Purification means we just sanded off the wood. Yeah. I don't, but I could be completely wrong on that. I just don't have the answer. Yeah.
And then we had, what was it, Cat Scott or somebody else after that?
Scott Cat. I think it's calling on the gods and goddesses that people misinterpret the most. I would agree. Invoking any spirit, I think, wigs people out quite a bit.
I agree wholeheartedly. Very good. Yes. Invoking, yeah. You guys have a good audience. They're smart.
Was there any other, Nico?
We have one more, Dante. You've spoken on your own practice for the elements. How do you feel about modern spirituality's shift towards animism?
I am an animist. I believe everything has a spirit. Everything has a spirit. The spirit of, might be the spirit of love, the spirit of struggle, the spirit of this tree, the spirit that's in this little dragon that I've put in there, the spirit of my wand. I am very much an animist, thinking that everything has a spirit, or we've given it a spirit. So I think that fits right into my whole elemental world.
I would agree. I think I love the animistic aspects that spirituality is moving towards. And then Chibi Senpai. When was the moment you decided to lean all the way into your abilities?
Oh, another good question. I have no idea. Again, I think it was just this little gradual, it wasn't a big, whoo, burning bush moment or anything. It was just a little more and a little more trust and a little more I learned, a little more I experienced. It just became who I was and what I lived. And especially, again, when I came out of the room or whatever closet, so to speak, all bets are off. It's just who I am. Like it or don't like it, that's okay.
Well, Patti, we're coming up to the hour, and I wanted you to talk about some, things that are happening with you, any new projects or anything you want to talk about, and tell us what's on your horizon.
Yeah, I've got a lot of good travel coming up. Week after next, I'm going to be in New Jersey. I'm going to be at AlterCon, the Great American Cryptid Expo. So not just ghosts and paranormal, they're going to have cryptids, they'll probably have aliens, all sorts of things. And it's a really nice thing doing galleries and seances and things. Then I'm heading for Vegas for the Vampire Ball because vampires in Vegas are always the funnest.
I saw that. I can't wait to see your photos.
Yeah, it'll be very fun. Again, vampire magic of our ilk is kind of very much elemental, ceremonial. But I say the difference of because we are spiritual vampires, all positive. It's just like the difference is my witchy world. My cloak is either organic cotton or Stevie Nicks black lace. In my vampire world, it's black velvet with a red silk lining. That's it. We have the coroners, we have everything. And then Penhurst is a really big one that I always look forward to. Penhurst is another big Paracon. So 1 or 2 or 3 a month for the rest of the year.
Nice.
I just filmed a new Ghost Adventures with the guys. Whenever they start the new season was a really fun one. A place I never know where I'm going. And it's right again down the street from me. We're here in LA. It's like, I didn't know this place was haunted. It's like, hello. So that was fun.
That's so cool. What can you tell us the place, or no, we have to wait?
No, you have to wait. Well, when they're back in LA, I guess I could tell you. Don't tell anybody. It's just between the 5 of us. Waddles Mansion.
Love it. Awesome. I can't wait. I love it when you're on there. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Just got my next two or three book ideas, getting ready to start on my next one. And that's it. Trying to still get that Paraflix going, the school going, the podcast, just juggling best I can.
Well, I'm a student of your school, so I always love when Nicholas sends out the week schedules. I'm always like, okay, which one do I want to do? So I love it. I love your school.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a labor of love. When I saw a lot of TV mediums and stuff, charging thousands and thousands, which is fine for classes. I couldn't have done that. So we make it literally like $20 a class or less if it's done regularly. It's like, that's what it should be. I'm a teacher at heart, whether I'm on a goofy television show with, bad or, on a celebrity ghost hunt in the basement somewhere. It's I'm a teacher at heart.
Well,
okay. I don't know. Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Patti, well, it's up on the hour, like I think Sister was going to say. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Sorry for our storms, but Mother Nature calls, so we can do nothing about that, though. But I want to thank you and thank the audience for commenting, showing up, tuning in. Please subscribe, share, and like, and go over to Patti's YouTube and her website.
Yeah, check out her website.
Yes.
Check out her TikTok. Check out all of her social medias.
Yes, we appreciate that. But until now, we will say goodbye. And many, many blessings and love and light in your heart and soul. Good day, everyone.
Patti, just hang back for a couple of minutes backstage with us and while the video uploads.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings all.
Yeah, thank you.